Asian Network.
No Filter with my boy, my brother Jagga, who joins me right now. Brother, before we do anything else, are you ready for the No Filter treatment? Will you be able to speak to me without the other part of your brain censoring yourself?
I think I can. Yeah, 100%. I've known you long enough, Bobby. Come on.
All right, cool. Well, it's No Filter. I know you're really good at promoting your own music, all right? But No Filter is never about promoting music. It's about me taking apart your soul, having a little rummage around, and then leaving, never to be seen again. Are you going to be all right with that?
Yeah, I'm all right with it, man. Yep.
Okay, so before we do anything else, Jagga, one thing I've always loved about you, and I really want to drill down into this now, is physically, you know, in terms of how you look, you have an iconic face and a look. And I don't know if that's because I myself am of British Sikh heritage and I've got all these things attached to what a proud Sardar looks like. But if I had to paint a picture of a proud Sardar, I'd almost paint a picture of your face.
Yeah, man. Like, you know, having this compliment you've just given me, I'm very grateful. And a lot of people say that, you know, especially from our background and stuff. Like,
well, they say that to you about the way you look.
100%. They say, look, you've got this unique look. Like, there's many people with, you know, daria and like turbans and stuff like that. But there's something about your face. Now, obviously, I just like laugh it off and stuff. There is a bit of an ego thing inside which thinks, yeah, that's sick. But there's a lot of dedication and there's a lot of hurt behind this look, you know what I mean? And the way it started, the way I grew up and, you know, going through what I went through as a kid, it was not easy, man. So getting this compliment today from you, like, it's not only mission accomplished, but we can build from here and just keep representing. That's all I can do. And I thank my guru, I thank God, because we believe as Sikhs, and you're aware of this, everybody's on different levels, Bobby. Like everybody is a Muslim, Sikh, Hindu, we're all on different levels in our journey. And with me, I believe I'm not perfect. We all make mistakes spiritually, religiously, we're human beings. But what my guru told me is, if you're a full Sardar, you've got the image of himself. So I believe, although I'm not perfect, I'm his son. He calls me his son. I look like him. You know what I mean? So that's it. That's the bottom line. And every Sardar you see out there, whether he's got a bug, dari or not, you know, he's still got that bloodline in him. And that goes with every walk of life. There's Muslim brothers, there's Hindu brothers that represent what's deep to them. You know what I mean? What they grew up believing, whether they found it at an early age or at a later stage. They also represent something. Yeah, whether they represent the Prophet, peace be upon him, and other beings and special people. For me, it's my guru. So I appreciate that compliment, man.
Look, it's not a compliment given to garner a response. It's just the way you look, you know. I think it's because I grew up in a household where, you know, like I've got short hair, okay? I've got my own relationship with Sikhism, but my mum always just used to do this thing where someone on TV, someone on the street, she would go, "Kinna sona Sardar." She'd always kind of say, and I, it's not until I grew up I was like, oh, what she's saying is it's not that he's handsome, it's this guy really looks like a Sardar. Look at the swag this guy's got with his turban, or that really looks like a symbol of my religious faith. I didn't understand that listening to my mum. So I was just kind of channeling my mum then and saying, you know, you look like a Sona Sardar. And it's much more than just about being handsome. It's actually about, there's an energy that you're giving off into the world.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I want to touch upon you saying that, you know, you've got your own relationship in Sikhi and stuff. And this is like just me and you talking. So this is based on my knowledge and just like, you know, education over the years. I'm very passionate about my background, you know, spiritually, religiously. I think as time's gone on, I'm more spiritual than religious, because like there's certain things where I've changed and stuff, and you know, you just grow into a different kind of being in it. But with yourself, there's accounts in Guru Gobind Singh Ji's army where there was haircut people like Munne, we call them Sejtari Sikhs and stuff. So for people, when people like, I want our listeners to hear this out, because there's a lot of big division amongst like some Sardars and people that are not Sardars. I just want them to know that there's historical facts and documents that state that in the army there wasn't only Sardars, there was many, many, many people from different backgrounds. There was Muslims, there was Munne. So we're all one, man. So just, say that to your mum next time.
Look, wow, this always happens on No Filter, but maybe never as hardcore as this. We're already deep within the convo. We're only a couple of minutes in. So I just want to rewind to something you said. You went, there's a lot of hurt behind how I look and stuff that I went through when I was a child. Forgive me, I've just realised, I don't know, like, have you had long hair all your life? Have you been practising all your life? Did you come to it later in life? And if you don't mind, what is this hurt you speak of?
So, I used to do a lot of, Sikh camps during the summer, with kids and stuff. So when they have their summer holidays, I'd help out in Sikh camps and stuff like that. And I'd say it all the time. I said it because there's all this airy-fairy version where people turn around and say, yeah, I found religion, I'm so happy, and it's all happy. For me, it wasn't like that, and I'll be on stage and I'd say the same thing to everybody. Like, I was forced into this way because my dad was a very strong, you think I've got some energy, my dad is like 100 times more. Like, when he enters the room, people know that, and he's got that respect as well, you know what I mean? He has a good laugh with me, he's like very liberal as well, we're very calm and cool. But with my dad, like, I was the oldest, me and my brother, I was the eldest and stuff, and my dad was that figure where I thought, I can't let him down. So he'd always tell me stories about our, past, where the warriors, the soldiers, World War One, Two, Guru Gobind Singh Ji's time, Baba Deep Singh, all sorts. So I've been in this household where I've heard about all of this. And then we moved from Handsworth to an area where there's like Solihull, for example, it's like loads of white people at the time. Yeah. And I went to school, and first time I went to school, they literally thought I was a girl because I was like in year 3, no obviously facial hair, and I had a top knot like a gutti. Yeah. And a lot of people thought I was a girl, man.
And you had the hanky as well.
Yeah, the hanky.
You didn't have a
the hanky. And they thought, it's like because maybe my features are slightly feminine, but that was just a start. So, as I was younger, that was fine. But as the facial hair started coming, you started going through puberty, and like you started thinking, my face is not clear anymore, so I want to shave. I want to get rid of this. But then looking at my mum and dad, I just couldn't do it. And I didn't have the nerve and the guts to tell them, I want to get rid of this. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then as time went on in school, it was just such a horrendous experience where, I hit secondary school, and especially with Asian people, we've got black hair. Black hair is going to show on our skin a lot more, you know what I mean? Yeah. So especially for like people from the white background, they've not seen this before, and they're like, you're a fully grown man. Like, they used to say so many things.
Wow, I didn't think about this. It's just because even if you're not Sikh, it doesn't matter what your background is. If you're South Asian, you got a full much by the age of 13.
100%. You see all these memes now and stuff, like internet, like all Instagram and everything. Like, it's a well-known fact that a lot of young Asian kids will end up having a moustache or sideburns at the age of like 10. And I was one of them, you know what I mean? And not only did I have a moustache, I had like a needy, full-grown beard kind of thing, you know what I mean? So I went through a horrible time and not only that, on top of that, I was like overweight as well. So I would always say, like, pain for a certain individual is still pain, you know what I mean? Like, for example, I went through that as a child. Yeah. When I look back at it now, I think that wasn't even a big deal. But at that time, that was my life.
That was
my universe. You know what I mean? Where somebody like, we work at a job for 30 years and all of a sudden you're 2 years from retirement and you're given your redundancy. So for that person, respectively, that pain is massive at that time. So for me, as a child, I look back at it now, I laugh at it. But at that moment, it was suicidal. It was like leaving school and thinking I don't want to come back, and then seeing my dad in the car picking me up, and then I just couldn't speak to him because I didn't want to let him down, that your son's getting bullied. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially after all the stories. So I believe...
Can I just interrupt you there? I was going to say, it's quite mad because I grew up in a Sikh household with a very, very liberal father. And I know this now, just getting to my age, just how liberal my house was in the 80s. But even back then, my dad would say stuff to me like, oh, you're Sikh, and what this means is you don't cry, you're brave, you're the warriors.
Yep.
All the stuff that I think a lot of Sikh boys especially think these days, now they're saying it to the girls, they say this stuff. And I got bullied, racially abused, and I never told my mum or dad because I felt like I can't go home as a Sikh.
That's right.
And say I'm getting bullied because they're literally going to freak. But anyway, sorry, I just wanted to...
No, like I said, big up to our generation, Bobby. Like, you know, all the kids that grew up in this country. My granddad, you know, came to this country. God knows what they went through. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like...
And they've never talked to him. My dad's never said anything.
They haven't. So like... the generation that we have now, they've got social media, they've got YouTube, they've got all these platforms where people understand each other's backgrounds a little bit better, you know what I mean? Especially with this thing with Steel Bangles, Musiala Mist, this track coming out, it's a massive win for our community and, you know, our background, because the wider audience, Punjabi MC set the bar, you know, the standard high and stuff. Now the wider audience are going to jump on that. So this is a big thing for our people, but we never had that. You know what I mean? We was the walking, talking Wikipedia. I couldn't say to the audio that was talking to me, say, go and look on the internet, because there was not much access and there was not much information. So, yeah, man, it was difficult. It was difficult, but you look back at these things and they make you who you are. So going back to your question, like with this whole Sikhi and the whole look, I was forced into it. And then as time went on, I started realising a bit of a trend that, you know what, if I got out of that alive, yeah, and I'm still here, I've accepted my look. And then I started, you know, when you just start falling in love with yourself almost, you know what I mean? It's a bit of self-gratitude, and that's what started happening. And thank God I started meeting people that were similar to me, so it made me feel a lot better, you know what I mean? So it's a big, I mean, everybody goes through it in their own way, but that was my kind of beginning, if you'd like to call that.
Okay. It is No Filter with myself, Bobby Friction, obviously, and with Jagga, and we've been discussing his turban, his dadi. You just heard for this dadi. You said, I'll tell you afterwards, all right? And look, I know it's deeper than what I made out, but some people will hear it and just kind of go, that's a really nice banger for people who are proud to be Sikh, all right? You're saying it's even deeper than that.
Yeah, man, like, I'll just even go to the whole fact, the way the track happened, like, big up Savak on the production. But, like, when I met Deep Dollars, the amount of similarities me and Deep Dollars have, like, growing up. Like, the guy himself, he's got a dari, you know what I mean? And his family background is very, very similar to mine. And the reason I say it goes deeper, so I'd already wrote my lyrics for this track. And when I heard the beat, I thought, yep, that's what I'm doing. That's where these lyrics are going to go. And, you know, Savak was helping and everything. And then Deep Dollars already come out with that hook. You know, I'm not an Amritari, but for this Dari I'd take a body. Like, you know what I mean? Showing that how proud he is of his look. I mean, there's certain people in our community that say he should wear a bug. Because if you look at Deep Dollars, like, you know, he's got a Dari, but his hair's down. So the stereotypes would be like, yo, you're a Sardar, you should have a bug on. But that guy... What's
interesting, without getting into any controversial materials, when I see him, I think about old school Sufis.
That's it.
You know, the ones who were like on the Islamic side, the ones who wear the pug, but they got the long hair.
Long hair,
and when I see his Dadi and I hear what he's saying, and I see the long hair, I'm kind of like, well, you're in the ballpark. You're in the in the Sufi, like, Punjabi ballpark, at least.
I mean, with Deep Dollars, head to toe, that guy is... I'd say, like, I class myself as spiritual, but that guy is 10 times more spiritual than me.
Really?
Yep. He's a bit younger than me, but I'm telling you now, the conversations me and Deep Dollars had, I was shocked to the point where I thought to myself, like, he's almost like an ustad. Wow. The way he was speaking, even in the studio lyrically, the guy would come out with certain things just on the spot. There's plenty of artists that do that now. With me, I'm very young in the game and stuff, so with me, hands up, I won't be able to do that. I'd need a bit more time, you know what I mean? But with Deep Dollars, he even says he's getting help from spiritual beings. Like, he would actually openly say that, you know what I mean? But you can see that.
Yeah.
Because on Instagram he says certain things, and like, you know, the way he looks and everything like that, and portrays his life, that's all real. That's not fake. And then on top of that, the guy knows his spirituality. So when I say this track went deeper, it's Savak on the production, and then the two artists that come together have got a very similar, unique bonding, because he's been through similar stuff, and the way he thinks and moves forward, and you know, it's very similar. So it just happened to fit in, and that's one of many that we're going to come. I'll speak to Deep nearly every day.
Really?
Yeah, man.
Oh my God, there's more
trip,
work possibly
seriously,
coming.
me and Deep, but it's past music now.
Yeah.
It's more than music. It's not even music anymore. It's like, I speak to his mum on the phone on FaceTime, you know what I mean? And their family is just like my family as well, like the way he's been brought up. And again, they were taught, you know what, if you got problems, you do not bring them home, just like what your mum and dad were saying to you, you know what I mean? Being from that proud Sikh background, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we connected
by the
on
way,
many
is
levels.
another conversation for another time, because in this day and age, and I kind of tend to agree with it as well, I totally picked up on what my dad said, which was essentially, be strong because you're Sikh. It's part of your identity. But at the same time, I feel like sometimes you don't want people to be so strong they can't, they let things burn inside of them as well.
I think one thing I realised, like, I was at a crossroads when I was very young, where I could have gone down that route where every little thing would have bothered me and I would have kicked up a fuss about every little thing. But I'm just so grateful I met people that showed me a different way, you know what I mean? A bit more of a calmer outlook on life, you know what I mean? And I genuinely think what we lack in every community when it comes to like things that are very emotionally attached to us, spiritually, religiously, or even just family, we don't communicate. We don't have conversations. We don't have dialogue. And when there is dialogue, it has to be one way and it cannot be the other way. And I think that's where we fail, because I know for a fact, Bobby, there's things you agree with that I don't agree with.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's things that you said before I was an artist. Yeah. There's things that you have said that I do not agree with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But look when we met.
Yeah.
You know, that's because I'll go back to Guru Gobind Singh Ji. I go back to my guru, man. Like, he sat with the people that did not agree with him.
Yeah.
He sat with them. Guru Nanak Dev Ji went to Babur's court. You know what I mean? He had dialogue.
Yeah.
He didn't even raise an arm against him, but he spoke. And his words were the victorious words, you know what I mean? So if we can't look at that, because there's so many things happening now where we believe we're getting attacked in this way or that way, but if we can't have dialogue and we can't accept the other person's view, then we are failing ourselves. Either that person is 10 times bigger than us, or we are that narrow-minded, you know what I mean? So that is a very important thing. And I learned that from not only historical facts, like, I try and live as much as I can based on my forefathers and stuff. I'm not perfect, but we got to try and implement the positives and how they took information in, because they actually took it in like a sponge.
Yeah.
Nowadays, we ain't got a sponge. We've got brick walls, man. If you don't agree with me, I don't want to know you, or we're going to have a fight. I don't think that's the way, man.
Isn't it mad that in current society, we are the most emotionally literate and we're able to describe things so brilliantly, yet when we disagree with people, it's the worst time. It's a mad time we're living in. We're able to argue our point better than we ever have, but being able to actually sit down with someone else, maybe not you, but generally people don't want to sit down with people anymore and have the dialogue that you speak about. So it's mad times.
Mad times. It's the game of the ego, I believe, man. Like as time goes on, we get more, you know, social media's on a high, all these materialistic things, and I believe when we think of materialistic things, like we think of like phones and cars and everything, but we get attached to them things, but getting attached to a thought is also poison.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Because if you can't separate yourself from a thought, my guru says that's also poison. You know what I mean? So this is where our people, not just in my background, in every background, they just need to understand ego doesn't reside in just the materialistic world. You know what I mean? It goes deeper than that. If you can't, even if I'm attached to my religion, right, people are gonna disagree, that's up to them. But if I can't step away when I need to and not let certain things affect me, that also is a deeper attachment.
I mean, look, you've blown my mind, because I've never thought of it like that. Being attached to a thought so massively is almost like being attached to a material thing.
I've seen it happen. I was there, like I said, I was at a crossroads at a young age, and I was thinking one way, and that is the only way. And for me, I couldn't get to sleep. My outlook was totally negative. I'd see people, and if they weren't thinking my way, I'd be looking at them in a negative way. You know what I mean? Just naturally it'll happen. You know what I mean? But what's the difference? That process that I'm going through is exactly the same as the other guy. So I need to change my process. So I have to be able to just step away from my thought, whatever that's holding me back in expressing myself and being a true human being. And if that's poison, I need to step back. And that's the key, I believe.
Wow. Well, you know, there is no rhyme or reason or plan when it comes to NoFilter. But I did have a mini plan, but we've completely smashed that to pieces. And that's fine, because that's the way, the paths we're walking down with this conversation. NoFilter, Jagga is with me right now. We've been talking about his identity, his upbringing. We've been talking about, really interestingly, over the last little section, we just went off into, I just really think the stuff that we always think about when we're by ourselves, the stuff we read in this very memeable Instagram culture that we live in, but we don't actually these days talk about with other people, which is, how do we feel? What does meaning mean in this day and age? How do we think of ourselves, and how those thoughts change as well? So that's just been really nice. I really feel what's been nice about talking with you is you're opening up doors in my head which I don't have the key to, and I really appreciate that.
Well, thank you. You know, I mean, you've done it to yourself, in my opinion, because you've got this platform and you allow people with different views, you know, different outlooks on life to come in and express themselves. So you've already laid your path, and then there's somebody like me that comes along from this opportunity and just shares experiences, man.
So, look, with that in mind, we have talked about this. The first time I ever talked to you on the show, you were very insistent on telling me why you started making music after a personal tragedy in your life. I don't know if you still want to talk about it.
No, we're cool.
The reason I think it's the right space to talk about it is because a lot of our people, and I put myself in this, aren't sometimes emotionally literate, because we put doors on ourselves.
Yeah.
I really felt when you came in and talked about what you went through, that it was so raw and so real that everyone can learn from this. So can we talk about what you went through? And for me, and correct me if I'm wrong, that's kind of why you're doing the music now.
Yeah, of course.
I'm not shrinking it down to this happened and you started making music, but I'll let you tell the listeners what happened to you, if you don't mind.
I mean, where do you start? Like, first of all, we have so many responsibilities, especially coming from the South End community, you know, Sikh background, Muslim background, you know, from that background, we have so many responsibilities, we have so many levels of stress that maybe other communities do not have. And one of them is, you know, you got to get married at this time. You know, then when you get married, you got to have kids, and then the elders are like, oh, he has to be a boy, and this, that, and the other. So, you know, it started very deep, man. So, you know, got married and stuff, and at the time it seemed all good. And then as time goes on, you know, you want to try for a kid, and it just doesn't work, you know, because of this reason or that reason. And, you know, then finally when that beautiful time comes after, you know, stressful days and stressful months, pressure from family. I mean, my family are great. I'm not even saying them, but it's just like, especially for my wife, when she looks at other people, like her family, her sisters with kids and stuff, she feels that ache to be a mother, you know what I mean? So the time finally came, and you know, it was like a proper uphill struggle. And next thing you know, like, you know, we lost our son. He had sepsis, and you know, every moment that I had with him, like, it was a blessing. I've missed out so much there, but you know, he was born, everything was fine. He was like, I don't know, 6-7 pounds, and he was like 5-6 weeks early, 8 weeks early. So he was a proper healthy baby, looked like me, like, you know, proper hairy and stuff. So even when I saw him, like, it was just so powerful. And then you actually see what, you know, a woman goes through. And that time, bro, it was a blessing. But at the same time, when the doctors say to you he's got an infection and he's not reacting properly to the medication, you don't know what to do. You're helpless. So all these things that I've been through as a kid were just nothing. But then, like I said to you, that pain barrier was the same. The pain I felt as a kid, where all the doors were shut, I felt that then. That's why I say to all the people out there, mental health is a real thing. You know, when certain people say, yo, this guy's depressed, or, you know, you just get out of it, step out of it, do this, it's not as easy as that, because you just do not know what pain somebody's going through, because respectively each situation is different, but it's how that person takes that pain. For me, I think I dealt with it, you know, a lot better than certain other people. But there's people like my wife, it finished her, man. So even to this day now, like, she's a lot better now, but, you know, just seeing that. And then what that does is it puts so much strain on your relationships, you know what I mean? And then for me, it was either depression tablets, carry on with them, or music. And that was it, as simple as that. And the day he passed away, I don't know what made me, you know, listen to, you know, music and write some lyrics and do that. And next thing you know, I believe that he passed away for this to be born. You know what I mean? So I love my son to bits, man. It's because of him. Yo, sorry, man.
It's hard to say sorry. Just as, look, if you need me to play a track, you tell me.
No.
So can I just, before we talk about the music, I just want to know, and I'll make the question really simple. How do you deal with that kind of pain? Because, you know, like grief, people talk about grief, people go through grief. I think what you went through is grief squared, because I've got children. I can't even imagine. I'd want the ground to swallow me up. I'd want every bone in my body to dissolve to bring that person back. I don't understand how one would deal. Forget the grief over time. the intenseness of just the first 48 hours. How did you get through that? And how did your wife get through it? Not that you have to speak for it. You don't have to.
No, I'll leave that because I don't know. Like, even till this day, she will say, you haven't got a clue what I feel. So I'll leave that to her, but she's a very strong woman. And a guy would never know what a woman goes through, man, because, you know, a woman carries the child for 9 months. But one thing I will say is every human being, no matter how strong they look, they are still a little child inside. Like when I saw my dad, you know, shed tears, that was it for me. Like I was holding my son when he's like half an hour away from going, and my dad's there in front. Like when I seen that, that was mad. And what kept me going was literally this, Bobby. And it literally come down to this one teaching, swear to God, because suicidal thoughts, a lot of things go through your head. Guru Gobind Singh Ji, now my dad's told me millions of stories, but this one literally kept my sanity. Yeah, there was days where I was dropping and thinking millions of things and negative things, but this one story kept me going. Was my 10th Guru, when the time came to sacrifice, he did it with open arms, with a smile on his face. His dad sacrificed himself for another people, or his own people, some people say. And he was happy with it. He was like 10 years old, 9 years old. Then he lost his mum. Then he saw his sons get slaughtered in battle. He sent them out. And then his youngest kids got bricked alive. You know what I mean? That was literally, I say to everyone, I don't care what anybody says, that was the story that kept me going till this day. Wow. And it's as simple as that. It's not no therapy. It's not no, I had to speak to somebody, or, you know, I thought about a million things. It was sometimes in things like this, Bobby, is just like the most simplest things that keep you going. For me, it's not only a simple thing, it's massively complex. But for that moment, for me, that was it. I thought to myself, there's other people next to me that are blaming God, blaming Vaheguru, blaming the Creator, blaming the universe. But thankfully, I can hold my head up high and say, I never blamed anybody, man. I just accepted it. Yes, I was in grief and stuff, but I see now, you know, this is the first time I've got upset in a while. But you said, let's open up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So this is literally legit. I was talking about my son the other day. I talk about him every other day. I do not get upset. But when I picture myself in that moment, like you asked me to do. Like
floating above it.
And literally, it's always going to be there. It's always going to be there. That pain is always going to be there. So that is one story that kept me going. And Bob, check this out. I never done music in my life. Yeah. And this is, I've never wrote bars in my life. There's people that compare me to other artists. I see it as a compliment. There's people that say his lyrics aren't as hard as these other artists. That's a compliment. But what they don't realise, I ain't even done it for long, man. I've done it for nearly 2 years now.
Yeah.
My first time I wrote something, my first time in the studio was August 2017 ever.
Wow.
For them to compare me to other artists and cost me in a negative, I'm so happy with that. You know what I mean? That is a blessing for me, because who has the nerve and guts after that to release something and put themselves out to the world?
Yeah.
Especially after going through that mental tragedy and going through all of that, but then having the risk of people not understanding my look and then giving me abuse. I got that. And then not only that, my own people saying, he's a Sardar, what's he doing? We don't do music. Why is he trying to act like a... They don't know the pain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So for me, I see this as my battleground. You know what I mean? There's, like, I go back to my gurus, the battleground isn't just one place in the Gurdwara or in one area which we believe. We go out. Guru Nanak Dev Ji went all over the world, man. He went to Mecca. He went to, apparently, Rome.
Yeah.
He went to people that he wasn't used to, or then people weren't used to him. That's my forefathers, man.
Yeah.
They didn't just stay in Punjab. Okay, let's just sit in this little circle and talk amongst ourselves. No, it's not about that. So with me, I'm going to stay true to myself with God's grace, but I'm going to go pushing the barriers, man, pushing the boundaries, because I believe I represent something, man.
Thank you. Let's play the track Dream, your own track Dream. I know there are people who tuned in halfway through that conversation. I just want you guys to know that with this No Filter, with an artist, with a human like Jagga, where he really can pull out his soul and his heart, which is really appreciated, because you don't have to do that, and most people don't.
I thought, you know what, driving here, I was thinking, shall I? But I thought, I'll allow it, whatever. We're human. I can't, if I want to keep it real, man, this is me. You know what I mean? My BB's been ringing me saying you eat and roti and all that stuff. So it's real, man. This is it.
Well, I just want you guys to know that the music also speaks for itself. Check this out. We're just going to make this the last section now, because me and him want to talk until about 1 a.m. in the morning, which we might have to do without microphones another time, because I really feel like, you know, on that, just away from what you were talking about, I think when someone is brutally honest and completely open with another human, they then liberate that other human. And I kind of feel like, I'm not saying Rab Min Chukla, but I feel like you coming in today has been great for radio and great for the listeners, but you've actually made me feel the most in touch with the energy of the universe that I've felt in the last 10 years. Just from having just from you telling your truth, I'm vibrating at a higher frequency. You've opened me up, man.
Listen, like I said, there's times where we are just a reflection of each other. So right now, I'm a reflection of you, Bobby, Shazad, everybody in here right now. We're just a reflection of each other. So everybody experiences this right now. They're meant to be here, man. They've attracted this, you know what I mean? So I've attracted this being here, which we were talking about when the song was playing. I used to listen to you, like the shows and everything, just thinking about, literally so strong. My thoughts were just to think like, oh, one day I want to be on radio like that, or I want to be in a music video. The feeling I used to have as a child growing up, and that manifested. And yeah, I had to give something, but like I said, the universe is on a frequency right now, but it's just the beginning. You know, it was years in the making. Now we're here. We're not going to stop. We've got other things that we need to do. And you've got your responsibilities as Bobby Friction. I've got mine as Jagga. And we just need to carry on from this.
Oh, I can't wait to see you carry on and write your story, because when I think about you as a person, when I think about how you've pulled out your energy tonight, and then on top of that, the sick tunes, bruv. I mean, let's just go back to the music. Yeah. They're all special. They're all sacred. They're all sacred in a musical way, and they're all unique. They're a lug from a lot of what's going on in terms of Desi music worldwide. I just want to see you reach them heights over the next couple of years.
God willing, bro. God willing. We could just, like I said, all I can do is there's times, like even these last few months musically, there's been people asking me when's your new track and stuff. I mean, there's a lot of opportunities that have come about for me in the entertainment industry, which I've taken very seriously. So music has taken a little bit of a backseat. It's still there. I've got my projects there ready, but I think for the long term, like advantages or positives for our community and our industry, I think me taking a certain step right now in this opportunity that I've been given, I need to focus on that. Like I said, the music's there now. You'll hear more music from me, you know, before the end of the year. And, you know, I'm working on my album as well. So, like I said, you guys are the first, no problem. I'll send that to you. But I genuinely think there's a lot of work to be done, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're a soldier, mate. Soldier. Look,
Yeah,
I quickly want to read out some of the vibes that are coming, and then we're going to have to let you go, because
No problem.
as much as my heart and soul are now open, the BBC possibly, against my will, want me to shut it and bang out some big tunes.
no
before
problem.
Possible Jeff. So I just quickly want to say, Neelam says, Jagga speaks from the heart. I agree with everything he says, and I can totally relate to his struggle. Enough respect to him. May God's blessings be upon him, inshallah. Rajinder saying, what a great interview. And Paloma saying, your guest is wonderful. I thank him for being so open. His beautiful little son is like an angel now, and he's close to his mum and dad. I say to your guest, you will see your son again at the end of your journey on this earth. Yes, it's a very heavy cross that the all-powerful and loving God will help you carry during your life. So there's people out there, man. You're helping them vibrate as well.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much to all the listeners. What I would like to say before we do wrap up and stuff is to everybody out there that is going through difficulty. I think, especially with our community, man, we need to talk. We need to even if it's not with the close ones at home, you know what I mean? Doesn't mean that you have to talk to your family. You need to find someone and just talk and let it out, because these problems and, you know, issues that we come across that we think is, you know, is our pride gets in the way. We can't talk about these things and stuff like that. We need to. And you know what? There's so many men, women, brothers, sisters out there that are going through so many different things, and, you know, it's not the end of the road, and you're not alone. You're not alone, especially with programs like this. This in itself is awareness, and then on top of that, greatness like music comes from it, and you guys can hopefully find your own greatness, you know.
Thank you, Jagga.
Thank you very much, Bobby.
Asian Network.
Thanks for being NoFilter.